time to review the new Ugreen NAS series. I have here their NASsync DXP4800 Plus 4-bay NAS. This is a category of electronics and home theater that I've always kind of enjoyed. I don't know, call me super nerdy, call me OCD. Managing files, managing photos, managing media and other content, keeping things clean and organized, making digital assets that you have available to you on your computer, on your devices, and perhaps wherever you may go, is an important part of a digital lifestyle nowadays. Now, I've long been a Synology user. Of course, you can see my Synology DS1821 Plus right there very prominently in a lot of videos behind me. But Ugreen reached out and offered up the opportunity to check out their new series. I'm familiar with Ugreen as a brand for some time. I bought cabling, I bought docking type of devices from them in the past. But this is a new entry, a new category, and a whole new lineup of devices coming from them. So I said, sure, absolutely, I would love to take a look. So in the interest of full disclosure, of course, Ugreen has provided the NAS itself. They have provided some drives to be able to plug into it in promotional consideration. However, my thoughts, my take, my opinions, my suggestions, and all of that are my own. Right off the bat, one of the things that I do like in stuff that I buy is when it comes nicely packaged, safely protected, and so that the unboxing experience, the start of the ownership experience feels like something nice. So we have that here definitely in spades. A double boxing and an outer protective box with an inner protective box. Nicely printed. This looks like a piece of high-end electronics right off of the bat. It came well protected in some foam and some bagging. We have the NAS itself, which we'll get to here in just a moment, and a box of miscellaneous accessories. We have some documentation and so on. We do have an external power brick and power connector. I have to say I'm not a super fan of that. I know some folks really prefer having external power bricks in their electronics and in their devices. It does give you the flexibility to say, if you ever have a power supply problem, well, the core thing that you really spent the bulk of your money on remains completely usable and intact, and you only necessarily have to replace an external power connector. To me, though, I do find these sometimes challenging to install depending on where you're putting stuff, how much space you have, accounting for an external power brick. I generally prefer not to, but some devices have them, some don't. Instructions come with a really nicely printed manual, and we do have a warranty card, 2-year warranty on the NAS, not just one like you get with many devices. Also included, bagged up here, is a variety of accessories. We have some cabling, we have some keys, we have a screwdriver tool, and some thermal padding as well. There's a lot of I/O and a lot of options, the connectivity and upgradability in the NAS that the accessories are part and parcel of. Another right off the bat, I have to say the build quality on this thing is solid. Hefty and solid, great materials, great fit and finish. Of course, this is the 4-bay version. There are a variety of different sizes available in the lineup. We have super easy to use slide in and slide out trays. And as you saw in the beginning, clicking in the hard drive, it's toolless, it's screwless, and you don't even have loose pieces that can fall off and get lost. You basically just pull the side of the slider tray open, drop your hard drive right in there, kind of snap it together, and it goes in just like that. I love the easy numbering across the front. That's great. Great easy labeling for identification. You're never going to be confused about which drive specifically is which bay and so on when you're setting things up. There's a bunch of I/O here, power button, and a variety of status and indicator LED lights, SD card slot, and 2 USBs right on the front. They're both USB 3.2 Gen 2. One's a Type C, one's a Type A. Not much going on around the sides. We have some feet, rubber feet down there on the bottom. On the back panel, love this. We have the intake for cooling with a magnetic dust shield. Nice big fan there to blow cool air from the back through the drives and out the front. And then additionally on the back, we have HDMI, more USB connectivity, 2 Ethernets. One is a 10 gig Ethernet line, one is a 2.5 gig Ethernet line. We have a reset pinhole and the connector for the power cord. Also around the back is how you access more of kind of the expandable I/O. In addition to the regular hard drive slots that are on the front of the unit, there is space for SSD storage inside that you can access through the back, as well as expendable RAM. Now this thing does come with the 12th gen Intel Core i5 processor, equipped with those 4 hard drive slots and dual M.2 NVMe connections inside. They rated up to 96 terabytes of storage. Of course, hardware setup for this kind of device is really a snap. Again, toss those drives in there, snap them, lock them in. Use the keyhole lock if you need to. I don't have a security concern here down in my basement, down in my storage room, so I'm not actually kind of locking the drives in place. We got the power connection on. We've got an Ethernet line connected. Hit that power button, and we've got some initial startup, initialization going on. And like any kind of NAS, the next step is going to be getting a connection via web browser, via the network, and dive in to all of the configuration, power, software, storage setup, and more. So initial setup is really a piece of cake. First menu, basically give the NAS a name and enter in a username and password. This is both your kind of initial logon main account and main administrator account that's going to get used with the device. Second screen, you can bind this with a phone number for more online and kind of linked services, and a couple final options to control updates, as well as a choice to share information with Ugreen or not. And that's it. Three screens, and from there your NAS is ready to go. You're in the OS, you're in the UI, and ready to use it. All right, so let's take a look through the UI. I do find in first impression the interface, the controls, the options, and so on of the Ugreen NAS to be pretty solid. Very reminiscent of other devices in the category as well, to be honest. So we have a landing screen with a wallpaper, a lot of configurability, such as well you can change the picture if you want. In the upper right hand corner, we've got a variety of informational icons, quick jumps, and so on. We can restart, shut down, manage the unit. We have options to get to a quick search for content on the NAS itself, a notification, and a task center where that can be customized and see kind of what's going on with the NAS itself, as well as some quick state information up on the bar there showing us current CPU, RAM utilization. The rest of the interface is very much app-based, and what we're looking at here is essentially the default set of apps installed on the unit. Control panel gives us all of the different types of options, controls. This is where we update the unit. If we click into any of them, we switch to this nice kind of vertical view, and you can manage quite a bit in here. So I think the capabilities of this NAS, the software, is still being built out. I'd expect to see a lot of integration and innovation coming in relatively short order, but most of the powerful aspects that you would look to be able to do are present already. We've got quality user management. We can manage files, file sharing, as well as a number of hardware, power, operational elements, and network and security pieces. It's all accompanied with good explanations, clear descriptions, and a variety of useful online help. File management is really done through the idea of building shared folders. There's a ton of power and capability in here as well. The file manager on the NAS itself gives you the ability to kind of inspect through your files, file manage, see them in a variety of different sorting and grouping options like we would expect, again, from a powerful file manager. We can also create shared folders here, manage permissions, and all of that. Every user is additionally granted by default a user folder. One thing that I thought was interesting to point out is, I don't know if I'm seeing this because I'm in Safari, it's a Mac, probably likely to be the standard, as we do have very Apple-esque types of controls. It feels a little iPhone, iPad-y, and we have Mac-style window management icons in the upper left-hand corner. Now the App Center is filled with a variety of things and some initial harnessable power. Interested to see Docker, DLNA, and a few other types of capabilities available. This is another area of the NAS that I would expect to get built out very powerfully over time as more apps, possibly third parties, more different packages and types of capabilities are brought to be able to load software easily and run different types of things on the NAS directly. The last one that I want to take a quick look at here and definitely give an overview about is the storage manager. Again, very common. When you set up a NAS, you're going to have your drives in. You're going to have to make choices. What type of RAID array, what type of file system are you going to use? When I set this up, I found it to be very easy to use. It's very wizard-based, again, with a lot of help and contextual information. They have a really great knowledge center resources already set up online. Of course, I had the 4 terabyte Western Digitals. I did set it up in a RAID 5 array for a 4-bay NAS. I generally consider that to be a good choice overall. All disks, of course, the same size, the same make, and so on. I don't have any M.2
slots connected in there. But if we drill through here, we can see I did create a storage pool and a volume. I will commend how quick it was to basically set this up, follow the wizard, and literally within a minute or so, the storage pool was available. I was making shared folders, and I could see those on my network through my connected computers and devices. I did elect for like a deeper hard drive validation that was ongoing for a couple of days thereafter, but the storage pool in the file system was available effectively immediately. There's state information, monitoring, health tests that can be run and scheduled. Again, many of the core tenets that you would expect. You have a NAS to store important information. You want that information protected. You want a high level of safety and security and reliability for the things and the information that you're going to put on the NAS. And I think what the Ugreen is presenting is a nice package here. Definitely right out of the gate with opportunity and room to add features and functions and software and capability into the future. Not using any external storage at the moment. Of course, there's all those extra USB ports on the front and the back as well. So in the end, I definitely give the software, the usability, the interface a pretty solid thumbs up. In all of my time using it as well, I didn't experience any software failures, no crashes, no concerns out of the gate with OS and software reliability. Of course, there was an update already available, and I would expect to see, again, a steady rollout of updates going forward.
All right, so a couple of other items. Number one, performance. I use the NAS for a variety of the things that I've long used my Synologies for, and I have to say performance is definitely right up there. Now, I only have 1 gigabit networking around the household. I haven't yet upgraded to 2.5G, let alone 10G that some of these new things support. But at 1G, I copied some VIG files, I copied some small files, and I have to say the performance was solid all around. Just for reference, I took roughly about a 7.25 gigabyte MKV file, took a bit under 2 minutes to copy from my MacBook using a wired Ethernet connection to the Ugreen. I tried some bigger files as well, and again, ultimately, performance was always on par, so positive marks there. The second thing that I want to mention is they are working on essentially a unified app covering pretty much every platform, mobile and computer. I did download the Mac version of the app, fired it up, logged into the NAS. It worked no problem. And I'll show you the screenshot using the app, and you can see it actually basically is essentially the entirety of the web experience. Same UI, same access to the same app, same interface. Although wrapped up in an app, I would expect would give them more power to potentially do a few more things than just going through the web interface. So if you're using one of these long term, you may want to consider actually what features may be offered in the long run with software updates and enhancements in terms of using the app locally when you're at your computer in your home versus using the web page. But the app is already offered across a plethora of platforms with a solid built interface and a ton of feature parity as it is right now. I do like the idea that they're focusing on building one unified app versus other cases where I've seen basically a suite of apps for different purposes, and so I appreciate the software design consideration being made there. And then lastly, the other thing that I did play around with a little bit is the Photos app that's available in the NAS interface itself. Now, one of the things that they're investing into, that they're looking to add as a differentiator, as a feature value, is AI-driven photo processing and photo library management elements to the Photos app itself. So I downloaded a bunch of open domain, free domain pictures, put them in to the Photos app as if they were part of my library. I downloaded all of the AI-based algorithms that the NAS can use. Basically, the Photos app will index and process your photos. It'll analyze for faces. It'll give you the option to say, who is this, who is this, who is this? And you can have a bunch of AI-driven, AI-generated, essentially smart albums collecting and giving you the ability to access within your Photos library, as well as a few other kind of AI-driven algorithms and capabilities. Overall, I would say the photo management seemed pretty solid, very much akin to what you would expect from a contemporary type of photo app interface and management system. So at the end of the day, I have to say, colored me pretty impressed. I think it's a really great built unit. Materials, fit and finish, build quality is awesome. Software is looking great, reliability is looking good, performance is right up there. I think they're packing in a lot of technology, and I think the thing has a lot of potential. The lineup covers multiple different sizes. It can scale to very large arrays with very large hard drives, expandability with regards to RAM, M.2 storage for caching and extra levels of performance out of the NAS. It ticks a ton of the boxes and I think offers up a bunch of potential. So we'll wrap up this discussion with the idea of do you need one, right? What purpose does a NAS serve in your tech-enthusiastic lifestyle? And to that I'll say I've been running a NAS in my systems for quite a while, actually. I don't even know, maybe nigh on 20 plus years. I've done the NAS thing. I've done Windows servers, file servers myself. I definitely prefer the NAS option versus a computer with a bunch of storage attached to it that I then have to independently manage on that computer for that device and jump through more hoops in order to share it. So a NAS in my household is definitely a requirement, I would say, in the technology use. We store a plethora of personal files. We store all of our family photo library, including even going to the point of having old photos from prior generations scanned digitally, and now we have just this massive, like, important collection of family history that I want to make sure I have multiple copies of with parity and protection and redundancy. I store and serve media of multiple different types. My NAS is a backup for all the assets that I've created here in the YouTube endeavors. So it's very much a piece of technology vital to business operations in the household as well. Having all of this information, all of these files and whatnot centralized on one device that is purpose-driven to serve it to people that are using those assets is proving more and more valuable as more of the household, more members of the household become like computing enabled. We have a school laptop that my kids share. They're very often accessing those family photos, storing their work, storing digital creations and other assets and files that are important to them. So having one common library that everybody can access without having to maintain local copies, local syncs, is just a tremendous value add convenience overall. I do employ cloud storage as well, and many of the things that I've just discussed are kept locally so that I have a copy always and forever under my local control, in addition to anything that I may actually do with the cloud. The cloud is great, but you have to take into consideration if you have large file libraries that are only in the cloud, large photo libraries that are only in the cloud, and you want to do a considerable amount of work with those things, you may want the performance of having a large file set actually downloaded locally. If you're going to do large scale media serving, you're going to need more of a mass of storage locally rather than being able to rely on the cloud. And I think good data security and safety practices overall tell you to have multiple copies of vital information kept in multiple locations. And in that regard, a NAS absolutely fits the bill. So in general, I would say if you're watching this channel, you probably have a technology lifestyle and some assets, some digital assets, some files, some photos, and some other things that are worth having a device like this in your system for. And with this, Ugreen has certainly strongly entered the space. They've got a great contender here, and I look forward to seeing its future potential. Now, at the time of recording this, the Ugreen NAS series was still in a bit of a Kickstarter phase. There are some promotional discounts, pre-sale opportunity and whatnot available down in the description below. Check the links. They had been running a tremendously successful Kickstarter campaign with a lot of backers and a ton of funding. So check it out. Sound off in the comments if you pick one up. Let me know what you think, and let me know as well, what brand, make, model of a NAS do you use? What do you use it for? What vital purposes, data protection, data security, and file serving elements does a NAS provide in your technology lifestyle? Otherwise, please do all that regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video, leave a comment, let's discuss. And if you'd like to support the channel, lots of ways to do that down in the description. Become a channel member, leave a super thanks, PayPal, Venmo tip, and most importantly, please do shop with my affiliates, Audio Advice, Amazon, Target, Best Buy, Newegg, and so many more, all down in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Come on back for more home theater and general tech discussion and fun.